the knock that shook the snow. The snow was falling hard outside the wooden mountain cabin. Wind howled through the trees like wild animals crying in the dark. Eli sat near the fire, drinking hot tea. It had been 10 days since he had seen another, human. He liked it this way. No noise, no trouble, just peace. But that peace shattered with a soft, weak knock on the door. At first, Eli thought it was the wind. But then it came again. Tap, tap, tap. He stood up slowly. No one should be up here. The mountain roads were blocked. The storm was too strong. He picked up his old hunting rifle and moved to the door. He opened it carefully, and what he saw made him freeze. A woman stood there. No, not a woman. Something else. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly. She had no shoes. Her thin clothes were wet, and snow clung to her silver hair. Her eyes, large and violet, looked straight into Eli's full of pain. Then she collapsed. Eli caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin was ice cold. She was barely breathing. "What the hell?" he whispered. He looked around. No one. Just the storm. Just her. He carried her inside, laying her gently on a fur blanket near the fire. The rifle stayed close. He wasn't sure if this was some trick, but she didn't move. She just shivered, whispering something over and over. Eli leaned close to hear her. Warm. Please. Warm. Her voice was soft, broken. She looked scared. More than scared. Lost. Eli grabbed a towel, wrapped it around her, and added more wood to the fire. He watched her closely. Her hands had strange marks, like burns. Her knees were scraped. She had been running. From what? Hours passed. She didn't wake. Eli made soup, but she didn't open her eyes. He placed a warm cloth on her forehead and sat nearby, unsure what to do. He had no radio, no phone, no way to call for help. He studied her face. She didn't look dangerous. She looked tired, hurt. When night came, the wind outside grew louder, like it wanted to break in. Eli looked at her again. She was breathing, a little better now, but her skin still glowed a soft blue. He whispered to himself, "What are you?" Suddenly her eyes opened. Eli stepped back, hand near the rifle. She looked around, confused and frightened. She tried to sit up, but her body was too weak. "You're safe," Eli said gently. "You're inside now. I'm not going to hurt you." She looked at him. "You are human?" Eli blinked. "Yeah, I guess you're not." She tried to speak more, but her mouth trembled. "Drink this." Eli offered her some warm soup. She took it slowly, her hands shaking. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked at the fire. "Zira." "Zira. Okay, I'm Eli." She didn't say anything more, but her eyes softened. She stared at the fire like it was something magical. Then she whispered, "It feels like home." Eli tilted his head. "Where's your home?" Her eyes darkened. "Gone." The word hit the room, like a rock. She turned her face away and closed her eyes. Eli didn't ask more. He just sat quietly by the fire, watching the storm and the strange woman he had just let into his life. But deep inside, he knew something had changed. This wasn't just a lost traveler. She wasn't just an alien. She was something more. And someone or something might be coming to find her. As snow covered the cabin once again, Eli locked the door and loaded his rifle. The heat between us, Zira, woke to the sound of crackling firewood. Her body was still sore but no longer frozen. The heavy blanket on her felt strange, soft, warm, kind. She blinked slowly, her violet eyes adjusting to the orange glow. Eli sat across the room carving wood with a small knife. He looked up when he noticed her awake. You're alive, he said simply, almost like a fact. That's good. Zira tried to sit up. She winced. Her muscles trembled from weakness. Easy, Eli said. You were half dead when I found you. Been out for almost a day. Her glowing blue fingers gripped the edge of the blanket. Why, did you help me? Eli raised an eyebrow. Because you were freezing outside my door. You knocked. I answered. Zira blinked. Most don't. Eli stood and brought over a bowl of hot stew. Well, I'm not most. She took the bowl carefully. Her skin glowed slightly brighter as her hands neared the steam. Eli noticed. Does warmth do something to you? Zira hesitated. My body stores it. Cold slows me down. Too long without heat, I fade. You mean die? She nodded. Yes, but not just heat. Real warmth. From a fire. From another. Eli scratched his head. From another? What does that mean? Zira lowered her eyes. Kindness, emotions, they carry energy. My kind, we live on it. Eli sat across from her, unsure what to say. This wasn't something you heard every day. So what are you then? Not just an alien. Something more? She looked away. A mistake. An experiment. That word again. Eli leaned forward. What kind of experiment? Zira's voice trembled. We were made to absorb warmth, to light cities, power machines, but we were treated like fuel, not people. She closed her eyes. I ran. I couldn't take it anymore. Eli was quiet for a long time. The fire popped. Wind hit the windows. Finally, he asked, Are they looking for you? Zira's eyes opened. They glowed like soft lanterns. Yes, and if they find me, they won't just take me. They'll take anything I touched, anyone who helped. Eli felt a cold chill despite the fire. You mean they'll come for me too? Zira looked ashamed. I should not have knocked. I was weak. Eli stood up, walked to the window, and looked out at the snow. Too late now, he said. I already let you in. Not much point turning back. Zira watched him. Her glow pulsed. Brighter now. You are strange, she whispered. Yeah, Eli said without turning. You're not the first to say that, he turned back to her. So what do you need, just warmth? You going to drain me dry or something? Zira shook her head quickly. No, I don't feed like that. It's not forced. It only happens when someone chooses to care. Even a little. That's the strongest fuel. Eli rubbed his chin. Strangest battery I've ever heard of. Zira gave a weak laugh. It was small but real. The room felt lighter for a moment. Then, thump. A sound outside. A soft one, but not wind. Zira went still. Eli grabbed his rifle. He walked to the door, slowly, careful not to make noise. He looked through the small window. Nothing. Then he turned to Zira. Stay here, don't move. She nodded. Eli opened the door. The snow had stopped falling, but fresh footprints were there, not his, and not hers. He stepped out, slowly following, the trail that disappeared into the dark trees. Behind him, Zira moved closer to the fire. She placed her hand near the flame and whispered something in her own language. Her body glowed brighter. Her strength was returning, but her eyes were full of worry because she knew who made those footprints and they didn't come for a talk. Zira's hidden scars. Zira stared at the door long after Eli had gone outside. Her body was warmer now, stronger, but her mind felt cold. The past still clung to her like frost. She moved her hand closer to the fire, watching how her skin shimmered with a quiet glow. Each flicker of flame seemed to answer her. She whispered softly, They're close. A sound behind her made her jump, but it was just Eli returning. Snow fell from his boots as he stepped inside. Footprints, he said, locking the door, behind him. Too fresh, too clean, someone's tracking. Zira's voice was low. They found me. Eli raised an eyebrow. You sure? She nodded. They don't need ships or lights, just a scent. My glow. Once they know the direction, they don't stop. Eli put down his rifle and stared at her. Who are they exactly? Zira didn't answer. Instead, she slowly pulled up the sleeve of her arm. Eli saw the marks clearly now. Deep burns, some round like cuffs, others long and sharp. Scars, too many for someone so young-looking. What? What did they do to you? She spoke quietly. Each mark was a test. Pain to push my energy. When I glowed brighter, they smiled. When I cried, they took notes. Eli sat down slowly. His face was pale. You were their prisoner. No, she said. I was their tool. Zira looked at her hands. We were born in tanks, not raised, not loved, just used. Eli's jaw clenched. He didn't know what to say. Nothing like this existed back home. He had heard stories of alien wars, but never this. Never something so cruel. Zira wrapped her arms around her knees, curling up. They called us flares. They said we were beautiful when we burned, but only when we burned. Eli shook his head. That's sick. She looked at him. I escaped when one of the guards hesitated. He touched my hand and felt what we feel. Regret. He let me go. And they killed him for it? Zira nodded. I saw them do it from the glass room. I never forgot. Eli leaned forward. So you came here, to Earth? Not on purpose, she said. I didn't know the ship would crash. I just ran. Cold slowed me, made me weak. I kept running. Then, your door. Eli sat back, thinking hard. You said before you take warmth from feelings, right? Yes, she said, but only when shared freely. I can't take it by force. He pointed to the fire. Does that help? She gave a soft smile. Yes, but your help, your choice to protect me, that's stronger. I feel it. Inside. Me. It burns, but not like theirs did. It doesn't hurt. Eli stared at her glowing skin. It was brighter now, but soft, like candlelight. Zira, he said slowly. What happens if you run out again? She looked down. I die. Not suddenly, but quietly, like snow fading into the ground. A silence fell between them. The fire popped. Then Eli stood up. He grabbed an old toolbox and started pulling out parts. Zira blinked. What are you doing? Something I should have done sooner, Eli said. If someone's coming for you, I'm not going to just sit here. We're going to prepare. He started rigging traps at the doors and windows. Zira watched, confused and curious. You don't even know me, she whispered. Eli didn't look up. I know enough. She tilted her head. Why risk your life for a stranger? Eli paused, then said, Because I was alone once too. No one opened their door for me. I promised if anyone ever needed help, I'd be the one who answered. Zira stared at him. Her glow pulsed softly. She spoke in her native tongue, words that had no exact translation, but their meaning was something close to, may your heart always burn with light even in the dark. Outside, the wind rose again. But this time, it wasn't just the storm howling. Something else was out there, and it was getting closer. Soldiers in the snow. The next morning, the snow outside was quiet, but the silence felt wrong. Eli stepped out of the cabin with slow, careful steps. The cold bit at his face. The trees stood still like watchers. But the air, it was heavy, like the forest was holding its breath. Then he saw it, boot prints, not from shoes. These were wide, deep, and moved with strange spacing, as if something heavy, maybe armored, had walked across the hill. Eli followed them for a few feet before stopping. Something glittered near the edge of the woods. A silver pin. He picked it up. The alien symbol on it matched nothing he'd ever seen. A sharp line with 3 curved slashes, like a warning. When he turned back toward the cabin, He saw Zira watching from the window. She looked scared. Eli walked back inside, locked the door and placed the pin on the table. "They're here," he said. Zira didn't move. She just whispered, "Sentinels." "Sentinels?" She nodded slowly. "They're not human, not alive. Built to hunt escapees like me. Programmed to return us, or burn the area." Eli clenched his fists. "So, we've got machines in the snow coming to take you back?" "No," Zira said softly. "We have machines that never stop, that don't sleep, that smell my glow, like blood and water." Eli walked to his hidden cabinet, pulled out a small box marked emergency and opened it. A flare gun, a few extra bullets, old tech, but it still worked. "I've faced bears, wolves, even bandits once," he said, "but nothing like this." Zira stood shakily, still weak but stronger than before. "You don't have to fight for me." Eli looked at her. "I'm not fighting for you. I'm fighting with you." She blinked. That was new. No one ever stood beside her before. Outside, the snow started falling again, slow but sharp. A warning. The cabin lights flickered. Zira's glow brightened suddenly. "They're close. I can feel their signals." Eli lit the fireplace. Brighter, placed metal bars across the windows and handed her a small metal rod. "What's this?" she asked. "An old earth tool. We call it a stun prod. Not great, but better than nothing." Zira smiled weakly. "Thank you." Then, boom. The door shook. Eli raised the rifle. Another boom, louder. A deep voice rang outside, not human. A voice made from static and metal. "Unit Z04 Your warmth has been identified. Open door, return for reprocessing." Zira's breath caught. They always say that before they break in. Eli moved close to her. "Can you fight?" "I can burn," she said. "But I have to be close. And it hurts me." Eli's jaw tightened. "Then we make sure they don't touch you." The cabin trembled again. Wood cracked. Eli aimed his rifle at the door. "You break it, you buy it," he muttered. Then the wall shattered. Not the door. The wall. A large, silver sentinel crashed, through with glowing red eyes and sharp arms like blades. Its face had no mouth, just a screen showing one word: retrieve. Eli fired. The bullet bounced off. Zira screamed, not in fear, but in pain. Her glow exploded outward in a wave. The sentinel staggered, sensors blinking. Eli grabbed her arm. "Now, run!" They dove into the back room. The cabin behind them shook as the sentinel followed step by heavy step. Zira turned, hands shaking. "I can stop it, but I'll burn myself out." Eli grabbed her hand. "No, not like this. We find another way." Zira's hand in his started glowing brighter. His warmth, his belief in her was feeding her. Her eyes widened. "Wait, you're helping me burn, but gently. I've never felt this before." "Use it," Eli said. "Make it count." The sentinel burst into the room. Zira stepped forward, and with a loud cry, released a blast of pure heat and light. The walls lit up like fire. The sentinel sparked, twisted, and finally collapsed into a heap of metal. Smoke filled the room. The fire burned hot. Eli coughed, helped Zira sit down. She was pale, but alive. Outside, the snow was falling again. But this time, the cabin stood strong, and inside it, so did they. Fire in the cabin, smoke curled from the broken walls. The first sentinel lay still, its glowing red eyes dark. But Eli didn't relax. He knew better. "Zira," he said gently, crouching beside her. "You okay?" Her skin flickered dimly. "Not for long. That blast took too much." Eli helped her sit up against the wall. Her breathing was slow, shallow. Her glow, once soft and bright, now pulsed weakly like a dying ember. "I need warmth," she whispered. "Not just heat. You're the only one who ever gave it freely." Eli grabbed a blanket, wrapped it around her, and stoked the fire harder. "Then you'll get more. I'm not losing you now." But outside, another sound echoed. A deep, thunder-like thud, then another boom, boom, boom. Zira's eyes widened. They sent more, bigger ones. They always do. Eli looked through a crack in the broken wall. 3 shadows moved through the snow, tall, metal, merciless. Zira tried to rise. I must go. Eli stopped her. You can't even stand. If I stay, she said, they'll burn everything. Even you. Let them try, Eli said, loading the last of his bullets. I'll make sure they regret it. Zira looked at him. Why do you keep helping me? I'm not even your kind. Looked into her glowing violet eyes. You are. You just don't know it yet. She stared at him, unsure if he meant it, or if he believed something deeper. Either way, something inside her flickered like a spark. Outside, the footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, a voice through the smoke. Cold. Robotic. Subject Z014. Human interference recorded. Fire protocol authorized. Zira gasped. They'll set the cabin on fire. A loud hiss began. Eli smelled it instantly. Fuel. No. 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 He ran toward the door, but it was too late. Whom? A jet of fire hit the side of the cabin. Wood cracked, glass shattered, flames raced across the walls. Zira cried out as the heat rose. Her body reacted, but not like before. This heat wasn't warmth, it was pain. Eli rushed to her side. We need to get out. Zira shook her head. I can't move fast enough. You go. No. Eli, no. The fire grew louder. Flames reached the ceiling. Smoke burned his lungs. Eli knelt beside her and took her glowing hand. I'm not leaving. But if this is it, then take it. All of it. Zira's eyes widened. What are you doing? Eli closed his eyes. Giving. You everything I have for a moment, nothing. Then, light. Zira's body absorbed the feeling in his hand. Not just heat, but loyalty, trust, and something more. She breathed in deeply, and for the first time, it didn't hurt. Her glow returned stronger, brighter, fierce. The fire around them didn't scare her anymore. She stood slowly. Your warmth, it doesn't burn. It builds. The roof began to fall. Zira raised both hands and pushed. A wave of light blasted from her body, covering the room. The flames froze in place, then vanished. Smoke turned to mist. The burning walls cooled to ash. Eli stared in disbelief. You stopped fire? She nodded. No, we did. But the walls were gone. The cabin, once a safe place, was nothing but blackened wood and open sky. Zira looked at the night. They'll come again, stronger, smarter. Eli looked around. Then we don't wait here? She turned to him, glowing softly again. You'd run with me? He smiled. Not run. Stand. Wherever you go, I'll stand beside you. Zira held his gaze. She was once a lab-made tool, built to burn and be burned. But now, someone saw her as more, and that gave her power no machine could ever match. Together they stepped into the snow. The fire behind them was gone, but between them, a new flame had just begun. The warmth that saved her. They walked through the snow in silence. Zira's soft glow lit the path ahead like a lantern, while Eli stayed close beside her. Behind them, the cabin, what was left of it, lay broken and smoking. But neither of them looked back. There was nothing left for them there. Not warmth, not safety, except each other. Zira's steps were slow. Even with her power returning, the cold still drained her. She leaned on Eli, not just for balance, but for strength. He didn't say much, but the way he placed his arm around her shoulders spoke louder than any words. They crossed a frozen river and moved into the dense woods. Eli knew these trails. He had hunted here, hidden here, survived here. He had never brought anyone else. Now he was leading someone who wasn't even from his world. I feel strange, Zira said softly. Eli glanced at her. Strange how? She looked up at the dark sky. Lighter, not just stronger, but less afraid, like something heavy left my body. Maybe it did, Eli said. Maybe it was fear. She smiled faintly. Or maybe it was loneliness. They found an old ranger hut deep in the forest. Small, cold, but still standing. Eli broke the lock, and they stepped inside. Dust. Silence. But no machines, no tracks, no danger, for now. Eli started a fire from old logs. Zira sat near it, watching the flames. But this time, she didn't look desperate. She looked calm. I didn't think I'd survive past this week, she whispered. You did more than survive, Eli said, placing a pot of snow on the fire to melt. You fought back. You stopped a firestorm. You saved both of us. Zira shook her head. No. You saved me. I didn't know how strong real warmth could be. Not until you. She touched her own chest. The others who escaped before me, they died because they thought they needed to burn bright to be free. But all they needed was someone who didn't fear their light. Eli sat beside her. I never feared you, Zira. I know. She turned to him. I want to learn your world, not hide in it, not run, just to understand it. Eli gave a short laugh. It's not always pretty. I don't care. He looked at her carefully. You're glowing again. She smiled. Because of you. For a moment, all was still. Then a soft sound echoed from outside, a far cry of a bird or maybe something else. But it didn't feel like a threat. It felt like life was returning to the woods. Zira stood and walked to the window. They'll come again, won't they? Eli nodded. Maybe not tonight, but yeah, they'll keep looking. She turned toward him. Then I want to be ready, not just to run, but to protect. Eli raised an eyebrow. Protect who? She smiled gently. The first human who saw me as more than a weapon. A sudden sharp pulse lit up in her chest. Not pain, but something powerful. Her body began to change slightly. Not in shape, but in presence. Her glow wasn't just from her skin now. It was inside her eyes, her hands, her heart. Eli stood slowly. You okay? Zira nodded. I think I'm changing, evolving. How? She looked at him with wonder. I used to take warmth. Now I feel like I can give it too. Eli stepped closer. You mean you're not just a flare anymore? No, she said. Now, I'm fire. They stared at each other for a long time. Outside, snowflakes started falling again. But inside that small, forgotten ranger hut, two souls, once alone, once frozen, were starting something new, not a war, not a mission, but maybe, just maybe, a future. Her choice, her flame. The morning sun broke through the clouds. It had been many days since Zira collapsed at the cabin door. Many nights since the sentinels came through fire and smoke to drag her back. But now, inside the small ranger hut deep in the woods, she stood tall, no longer trembling, no longer hiding. Her skin still glowed, but different now. Softer, stronger, as if her light had learned not to burn, but to guide. Eli watched her pack the small bag they had found. She folded the blanket he gave her. She touched the worn wooden walls like someone saying goodbye. Where are you going? He asked. Zira didn't turn around. Not far, but I need to stand alone, just once. Make my own choice. Not run, not follow. Eli stood up, nervous. You sure you're ready? Zira turned now. Her eyes were no longer filled with fear. They were steady like calm stars. I've been afraid all my life, she said. Even when I escaped, I was still afraid of losing my light, afraid of dying cold. She stepped closer. But when you gave me warmth without wanting anything in return, I saw what I could be. She placed a hand over his chest. I carry your kindness now. It lives in me. Eli didn't speak. He couldn't. Zira gave a soft smile. I'm not going to vanish. I'm not going to break. If they come again, they'll find someone waiting. She walked toward the door. Eli stepped forward. Let me come with you. Zira stopped. You've already given me everything, Eli. But this choice must be mine. He frowned. What if they overpower you? She looked back. Then I will fall standing, not hiding. The forest was quiet when she stepped outside. She walked into the clearing. The air was cold, but it didn't hurt her anymore. Her feet crunched gently across the snow. Then, above her, the clouds shifted. A flash of metal in the sky. She felt it before she saw it. A ship, silent, watching. A faint hum in the trees. Sentinels. But this time, she didn't run. Zira spread her hands wide. Her glow intensified. No longer desperate, but proud. Her voice rang out soft but sharp. I am not a flare. I am not a tool. I am not yours. The trees shook. A form moved through the woods. One of the new sentinels stepped into view. Sleek, taller, more advanced. It raised its weapon arm. Eli was watching from the hut, frozen in fear. But Zira didn't move. I am warmth now, she whispered, and your fire cannot take me. The sentinel fired. A sharp beam of plasma lit the air. But Zira raised her hand and absorbed it, not blocked, absorbed. Her glow became a blinding light, pure and golden. The forest filled with warmth. Snow began to melt around her feet. Then she stepped forward, and the sentinel stepped back. It didn't compute. She touched its chest. A whisper passed between her fingers and the machine. It collapsed, deactivated. Zira stood in the steam untouched. Behind her, Eli came running. Are you okay? She turned around. Her glow dimmed gently. I didn't destroy it, she said. I showed it what warmth feels like. Eli looked confused. You changed its mind? No, she said. I reminded it I'm alive. They walked back toward the hut together. The ship above them slowly moved away. No weapons, no threats. Zira had sent a message. Not with violence, but with something stronger. A choice. Her choice. That night they sat by the fire again. No cabin, no alarms. Just stars and each other. Zira leaned her head on Eli's shoulder. I don't need to burn anymore. He smiled. You don't. She looked up at him. Now I know. I am the flame. And for the first time in her life, that flame belonged to her. Not to scientists, not to soldiers, not to fear, but to hope.